Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and I've been working on a video, and this is an interesting video because it's kind of what I want to see from BlizzCon. But then I started to think, you know what? What actually is the current state of Overwatch right now? I've had a bit of an eye-opening experience recently where I've been playing quite a lot of Call of Duty Blackout. Now, I know some of you guys out there are probably like, well, whatever, Sty. We don't care about Blackout. That's fine. You don't care about Call of Duty. Whatever, that's fine as well. But what it kind of showed me is that games are played for fun. And I think I've been losing that aspect with Overwatch. However, let me just go over what I think are the things I like in Overwatch and what I dislike. And then from there, we can get stuck into this video because it's really, really, really interesting. And I bet a lot of you guys out there are going to be like, yeah, I agree with Sty. Like, what you're saying there does make sense. So let's do this. Okay, so things I like. Now, it's a pretty big list. I've wrote this down. You guys can see me like looking at my monitors. I'm going to read it off. So I like the hero visual and world design. I think they look great. I like the graphics engine, like the way the visuals are presented to us. I think it all looks great. I think it's really fun to play. I do like the game's mechanics on the whole. I like the shooting mechanics. You know, I like all of that. That's what attracted me to the game in the first place. I love it. Seasonal event items and skins. Yeah, I enjoy those. I think everybody enjoys those. That's good. I enjoy the brawls, but not when they become repetitive, but we'll get on to that. Now, I really like Overwatch League. I really like Overwatch Contenders. I really, really like Overwatch World Cup. Like you guys can see, that there is my... I'll show you. This is the 2017 World Cup jersey, the like the older one, but it's got Stylosa on it. Like, this means a lot to me. Like, to represent your country, it means like a huge thing to me. And of course, we've got the ones for this year as well, which I need to get them in here as well because they'd be nice on the sort of on the whiteboard. But yeah, that's besides the point. So I enjoy those things. But what I also really enjoy is those 1 in 5 competitive games that you get, which are really beautiful. So everybody's playing the hero they want to play. Everybody communicates. Everybody plays the objective. Everybody works together. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's a really fulfilling gaming experience. It's fun and it's great. So those 1 in 5 comp games, maybe I'm being generous there. Maybe it's 1 in 8. Maybe it's 1 in 10. Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? But those rare comp games that you get, they are awesome. I also really enjoy the animated shorts. I really enjoy the dev updates. Another thing I enjoy as well is this, ladies and gentlemen. Well, obviously I enjoy Overwatch merchandise, but whatever. That's like a guilty pleasure of mine. These are from Overwatch events that I've been to. I really like going to Overwatch events, ladies and gentlemen. So, what do I take away from all of this? I like Overwatch. But when I look at my list, I don't actually... A lot of the stuff on this list is like things outside of the game, right? So let's talk about things I don't like, and then we need to recap this because we can get massively sidetracked with this, so let's just get stuck into it. So things I don't actually like. I don't like stuns, and I don't like loss of control of my character in any way. I hate that. Why there's so much of that in the game, it baffles me. Especially when you play Reinhardt, you just get destroyed. It's like, what's the point? You know, you're stunned from everybody. It's just whatever. I don't like insta-kill moves, so I don't like when Doomfist just instantly kills me. Now, I know there are ways to play around Doomfist, but you got to admit, it is quite easy for Doomfist to come in, seismic slam, uppercut, kill you, and punch out. Random maps. Now, I don't really like this, so... this is a personal preference, but remember, this is kind of my personal list. I just want to see if you guys sort of relate to it. I do not like playing 2CP in competitive. I hate it because it requires too much coordination, which you very rarely get. So for a 2CP to work, you need to get that 1 in 5 magical game and get the 2CP map. So it's a lot of stuff going on there, and it's kind of... It feels like 2CP is almost like throwing away SR, or it ends up in a frustrating draw or a really frustrating win. Frustrating being the operative word there, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't like the fact we just get put into random maps. Now, I also don't like poor team comps through lack of role select. We'll get onto that later. Competitive rewards. There isn't really any. I mean, you get a spray if you get to top 500. Which, let's be real, top 500 is going to be like a monumental effort for almost... for me, it would be a monumental effort to maintain top 500. And you'd have to... It'd be based on all of this luck stuff as well. Like, make sure you had the right team comps, you know, blah, 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 whatever. Golden weapons... Who really cares about golden weapons, to be honest? We know the devs don't like them because it incentivizes playing competitive for the wrong reasons. I don't like defeats resulting through player composition. That's because of no role select, so that means you get 5 DPS. How can you work with that? This is more pronounced at the higher end of the ladder, but you'll go into a game, and if the enemy team have got like 2 DPS mains and 2 support mains, and then maybe 2 flex players or tank players or whatever, they'll probably beat your team if you don't have dedicated DPS mains, because their DPS mains will be doing work to your team. Your guys won't. If I flex to a DPS, like at the highest level I've played this season is just over 4.1k. If I play DPS in those games, I am no good. Right? I'll hand over heart to say that. I play DPS in those games. And the enemy team have actually got a GM DPS player, they will wreck me, and they'll just wreck my team. I know I'm not contributing, so I'm having to make the best of a bad situation, which is not great, right? Remember, this is a game. We should be playing it for fun, not trying to make the best of a bad situation. All right. I don't like repetitive events. We'll get onto that later. I also... And I know the devs have said, like, hey, we're not focusing on events and all of this stuff. I'm hoping that's a big debate, that we're actually going to get a massive announcement at BlizzCon for some sort of major expansion or something. If we don't, and it's just a hero in a map, well, yeah. I don't like insta-lock defeats, which, again, is pretty similar to defeats through player team composition, which is basically you go into the game and you just see, like, 5 people insta-lock straight away, and you're like, okay... Normally it's DPS, right? It's very rare you see people insta-locking supports or tanks. It'll be DPS, and then you have to try and work around that. And then here's the problem, right? There will be players that are willing to work around that, and they will say, okay, I'll flex onto a tank. But then you've got the situation where you've then got a tank player at the level you're playing at, which isn't really a tank player because they're a DPS player, and all of these problems come from that. So again, it feels not like a skill defeat. It's just a straight up, I've pressed quick, well, not quick, well, yeah, I guess quick play be the same, but I've pressed join the queue and I've lost straight away before the games even start. It doesn't feel great. Lack of lore or meaningful story updates, it makes me feel quite disconnected from the game. Lore in Overwatch there is a lot of it actually, but it's in very weird places. It's not really offered up to us. It's not like this is the big major Overwatch storyline. Essentially, there is no Overwatch storyline right now. Like, what is it? Like, for the average player who's not an absolute lore buff, what is the storyline with Overwatch? Like, what are we actually doing? Like, I know, okay, it's a hero shooter. It doesn't make sense because, you could have Tracer and a Tracer on different teams. It makes no sense, right, in the game. But the world that they've created needs to have some sort of story. Now, think back to Doomfist. Doomfist was launched, and some of Numbani was edited leading up to that launch. That's kind of the last time any of the maps have really been updated, or the world has been updated to reflect things which are going on in the world. I hate that there's none of this in Overwatch, that there's no direction, that there's no, like, main driving story focus. Maybe this is something for BlizzCon, hopefully. I really don't like sweeping hero updates in the same patch. Now, on paper, this can sound like a good idea. This is like, okay, we're going to change all the supports in one patch. That kind of worked out, right? We're going to change... Well, Mercy got the bad end of the stick there. She became arguably the worst support, although I use worst with air quotes. She's kind of like... She's okay, but... Yeah, but whatever. Like a massive sweeping change to a whole category of heroes. They've done it again with DPS heroes. A massive sweeping amount of changes to loads of DPS heroes. Now, I have said that I have never had a hero in this game be reworked. So I've never had a Torb, never had a Symmetra, a Roadhog. You know what? A D.Va as well, to be fair. Like, D.Va's been heavily changed through, like, with micro missiles and defense matrix and armor nerfs. What about Farah? Like, I categorize the Farah changes as basically a rework because they've changed the way the heroes played. So I don't know how I would react if they suddenly came out and went, Reinhardt is totally different, Winston's totally different, Zen is totally different, Soldier is completely different, like he's got totally... I don't know how I'd react to that. That seems very, like, heavy-handed when it comes to balance. Now, of course, this means that the game just gets thrown into turmoil. Nobody knows what's going on. Everything changes all the time. Massive changes coming through. It does seem a bit like the more this keeps happening, the more I'm like, I can see positives for it, but also the negatives seem to be quite... Like, we don't really know what's going to happen. It feels really lapsadaisy. I don't like the state of Roadhog right now. He should be on PTR soon, hopefully this week, but I just don't like what they've done to Roadhog. He is like... He went from being really effective to getting sort of brought down in effectiveness level, let's say, but then he was kind of okay. Then the recent changes on PTR, which then went to live, which have basically made Roadhog almost useless, which is unfortunate, especially when you look at Doomfist, right? Because Doomfist is mega strong right now. Roadhog kind of should counter Doomfist, but he kind of can't because, well, yeah, he's Roadhog. And he's pretty bad at the moment, so I don't really like that. Don't like it how heroes are just suddenly gutted for no reason. Doesn't feel great. I don't like the fact there's no replay system in the game. And the biggest one, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate with me when I say this, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. When is the last time you stopped playing Overwatch because you were tired? And I mean physically tired. So you started playing Overwatch. I started, let's say, like, you know, it's 11 a.m. So I'm going to play Overwatch now until I'm tired, until I physically cannot play the game anymore. So maybe I'll go through to 6 p.m. or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I've got to come off. No. The reason I stopped playing Overwatch competitive is because I'm tilted, right? It's because the game stops me playing. And that is so bad. To have a game which has got systems in place which causes you to come off as a player is just not right. You know, I go back to the top of this video and I spoke about Blackout. I've been playing it with Josh. Now, you guys know Josh because he makes some of the videos on the channel and he makes some of the discussion videos with me. We've been having a lot of fun in that game. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, it's not balanced. Yeah, it's nothing like Overwatch, really, is it? But it's fun, right? And for the first time in a very long time, I'm playing a game which I am having to kind of come off when I'm tired, right? I'm not just coming off because we've been beat every game. You know, it's like, oh my God, let's just get out of it. Which, by the way, we've won a few games, so we're not that bad. But I don't get that feeling with Overwatch. Now, what about the future? What about BlizzCon? This is kind of where I want to end the video, because BlizzCon is... I'm going into BlizzCon with some pretty big hopes for the future of Overwatch. Now, I don't have any information. I don't know what's going to be there. You know, everybody thinks it's going to be Diablo, right? But surely there needs to be something with Overwatch. There needs to be something beyond, here's a hero, here's a map. If we get just a hero and a map, I will honestly be like, well, this is what we expected to get, but what about all of these issues that I've just listed in this video? So what about role queue? You know, people will say to me, Steve, but LFG. LFG is, just use LFG, what you're moaning to me for. The way I like to describe LFG, it's kind of like playing the game in hardcore, like hard mode. You get together with 6 other people and you go into the LFG queue. So you'll face longer queue times and all that stuff, but you might come against a team of players that actually play together. This happens at higher ranks more so than probably lower ranks, but 6 unorganized people together against 6 organized, you will get wrecked, and it is not the same. It's not as enjoyable, right? We need it to be as equal as possible competitive. This is what I think. So we need to be able to select what role we want to play, go into a queue and be matched with players that the system knows are playing other roles that will allow us to field a team. There are a lot of issues with this. There's things like forcing the meta. There's things like, you know, I've made loads of videos covering this, saying, hey, Blizzard don't want to force the meta. What would be the implications of all this? We just go around in circles with that. I just worry a little bit that if we don't get any kind of advancement to these social systems and these ways of playing the game, ways of making me want to sit down and grind out competitive with other people that want to do it like it was when the game came out. Now, I know Overwatch is a fairly old game. I think officially live maybe 2.5 years. Well, it's 2 years. Yeah, 2.5 years, I think. But I always generally say 3 years at this point because of the closed beta and all of that good stuff, which obviously I was part of and lucky enough to be part of that, which won me over to the game. Because if you guys ever remember, the very first video I made on Overwatch back in like 2014, I think it was like... Maybe it was 2015, I'm not sure. But it was like, haha, look at this game Blizzard are going to launch. It's going to be so bad. Blizzard can't make FPS games. It'll be abysmal. And Blizzard actually sent me an email and said, hey, do you want to try it? Because it's not that bad. And I was like, okay. And that's where I came from, basically. So that was an interesting little tale. But yeah, like I worry because if we don't see changes to the game to make me want to play the game religiously like I did before, because in the past, obviously, you're trying to learn the heroes, you're trying to understand the meta, to see the way things are, progressing. You kind of have a different offering now with Overwatch, and I noticed this with my Overwatch like content consumption. I am feeling quite sad that there's no Overwatch League right now. There is Overwatch Contenders. You guys know that I do work with Cloud9, so London Spitfire and British Hurricane. So I like following them when I can. Obviously, Contenders is starting to come back. I think it's open division that British Hurricane are in. But that shows me the way the game is meant to be played. I don't get that when I play the game. Very rarely I'll get a team. Like, I'm never going to get to play at the pro level. I don't expect to go into competitive and have people come together and be able to roll out pro strats and all of that. I don't expect that. But what I expect is people just trying to work together. You know, I always say the best time I ever had was playing in an ESL Go tournament back in 2016, where 6 of us got together of completely different skill levels and just tried to play in a tournament. And I think we won 2 matches, got to the semi-final, then got knocked out by a semi kind of pro team who were just much better than us. But that was a fun experience. So I don't really want to go into detail in this video on what I want to see at BlizzCon. I'm going to put that in a different video when it's closer to BlizzCon, because I think it would make more sense. But I just wanted to get this out there because this is almost like a report on the current state of Overwatch from my point of view. I just want this game to make me play the game, and I don't want it to force me to stop playing the game. Now, you could say that maybe this is something to do with burnout, because I do play Overwatch almost exclusively. And I'd agree with that on some points, but also I just think, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to keep going over it. You guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa. This is Unit Lost, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.